Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Brennan. Chartrand.
Here.
Dahlhoff.
Here.
Hathaway.
Here.
King.
Here.
Kulzer.
Here.
Mowerhand. Mosier. Fawcett.
Here.
Tabo.
Here. Everyone please stand. We'll have a invocation. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for a beautiful day. We pray that problems that go on in our country will subside and people will learn to get along and work together. Amen. Pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rules and Legislation Committee meet, Terry.
The committee is not present, so Larry was going to make a motion and the whole board would be.
I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules and resolution.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. At this time, we go to privilege of the floor. I talked with Michelle Nadeau yesterday about the Copenhagen water problem, and she assured me that she would give us all an update of how serious the matter could be over there.
So, honestly, I'm just one person on a committee that is made up of soil and water, has been meeting, the emergency management coordinator, Bob McKenzie, Frank Pace has been there from the Ag, Farmland and Protection Board and the county government side of it, myself with Cooperative Extension, FSA, and so we have been meeting actually monthly since, weekly since June, and monitoring what's been going on. You have a piece of paper in front of you called Working Through the Drought 2016. Frank and I were just recently in Washington, D.C., representing Lewis County and this region on some issues, and we handed this out to our congressmen and senators and some other folks who are involved in this, and we had the opportunity to actually speak to the FSA person who's in charge of disaster. And I know that it's been in the news and it's been a bit of an issue about the declaration for Lewis County. We do have the ECP, which is available for farmers and the ag community here in Lewis County. One of the things that is happening that is probably most present and is relevant to you as legislators is there is 2 declarations of emergency going on right now in Lewis County. And those are the Town of Denmark, District 1 Water, and the Village of Copenhagen. And that is directly affecting that village, those folks in that village, those businesses, and the school district. And so they've had some problems with the wells this summer, but most notably it became an issue when school went back into session. And school has made some efforts. They are using paper plates, so they're not using water. I mean, they're really being conscientious about what's going on. And we have, Bob McKenzie called me on Wednesday, and we went and did a survey to make sure what ag farms were on village water. And we have 3 farms that are using village water. We have 2 dairy farms, and we have 1 heifer operating facility that are using village water. So we're talking just shy of 1,000 animals that are utilizing village water, and so our response has been as the water committee to go and work with them. 2 of my staff members on Friday went out and actually directly, after we've had phone conversations with them, actually went out to the farm, talked with each of the farm owners, said this is the situation. You need to think about where you're going with your water, look at the FSA opportunity to either drill a well and also to get a tanker to bring in water. One of the farms is more set up to bring in a tanker of water and hook up and have the piping to take care of with their dairy operation. The other farm is not set up because they've always been on village water, and so they would have to do a lot of repiping and everything to have a tanker brought in. Obviously, when you have a heifer operation, they can bring in a tanker of water, bring in some tubs, to, take care of the heifers, and a short-term fix, they can make it all work. A little easier than people who are milking dairy cattle who have to clean out their pipes and, have potable water and all that. As I keep working with the committee and Bob McKenzie, one of our concerns is how quickly are these wells going to refill? They have pumped 135,000 gallons as of last night into the tower in order to shut down the 3 wells. The well 1 went from 4 feet to 20 feet of water over the weekend as they were pumping in this water. Well 2 and 3 are still dry, and so they are concerned about this. We are concerned from the ag side of it only because if these 3 farms need to make some kind of change, we don't want to be dealing with this. Mike and I kind of chatted about this yesterday morning. We certainly don't want to be dealing with this in November or December because the ground will be frozen and all those issues that go along with it. So we're going to be closely looking at this with the village. Bob McKenzie is going to be attending their board meeting tomorrow night because we want to know, actually tonight, it's Tuesday, they're attending their board meeting tonight because we want to know what their thought process is and, with the hydrologist, how quickly this is going to change. So it is a big concern. I mean, you have businesses, you have a school, you have human beings that live in the village, and then you have the whole animal side of it that needs to be taken care of.
Who's heifer operation?
It's kennels.
They can't take the heifers back up?
They have 250 heifers there, and
The new barn they built full?
yes. So they are thinking about where they're going with their 250 heifers right now. And then they had like a tractor fire this weekend. They've got a lot of things going on. We're just trying to help them kind of think through what they're going to
Are
do.
cows big consumers? Do they?
Absolutely.
An average dairy cow, Holstein cow, will consume 50 gallons of water a day.
Wow. Jeez.
Who's
So,
the other?
so Hebert's are on it, and then Jones's.
So what
What
about,
happened to Jones as well?
Jones's have been using village water, and now they have turned back on their well, but they're bringing in 10,000 gallons of water a day on a tanker right now.
so what's the situation with farmers in the vicinity outside the water district?
Everybody else is on a well, and they are fine. We had one person with beef, and they have a pond, and they are not on the village water, and they have moved their beef cattle up to Tug Hill region. And so they are not bringing those beef cattle back.
So have they identified what the problem is with the village's wells? What they've got to do about it?
I'm hoping we'll know more tonight.
Is it just the dry weather, or is there something else?
They're right now, from my standpoint, all I'm hearing is it's the drought.
I thought
And we've heard a
the
little-
wells were pretty good that they tapped into down there off Cataract.
All I know is what we've been told is the drought situation. I mean, Frank's been sitting in on the same meetings as I've been.
That's basically what we've been told by DOH is monitoring the situation, and they are monitoring the wells and the recovery of those wells. So they're pretty much in charge of that side of it, and we've been working with the animal side. So, but they, that's really tonight. Hopefully, DOH is gonna bring everyone up to speed.
Yeah, I mean, DOH has a hydrologist involved and all. I mean, I'm telling you what I know. I mean, they're paying $200 for each truckload, and they've done like 4, 5, 9, and another 4. So I mean, they're outlaying a fair chunk of change with all of this.
Now, some of I'm just checking, didn't they drill a well a few years ago for the same purpose and?
Yeah, they
Okay.
decommissioned their Battle Creek well. They had decommissioned that one because I guess they were having trouble with it, and that's when they put in the other 2 new ones. But apparently they're, with the current conditions, they went dry.
And I guess that for farmers, is there veins around there that if the farmers did drill, they might be able to hit stuff? Or is it kind of dry in that area?
So the Jones's Farm has a well, they have not used it. They are actually going to drill it deeper and work with it. And there's some funding for a loan for them to do that. The Heberts, we are talking with them about what their situation is, and part of it is they're waiting to find out from the village what's going to happen with well number 1. And I know the school is looking at, and had a school board meeting last night, and they're actually taking some water that's underneath the new library they built, and they are putting 6,000 gallons of that water into the river each day, and they're actually going to look at using that water into the school system. So they're going to make some changes, and because they're going to be proactive.
There's water, I think there's water up there. The Jones has had a dug well there about a mile out the back. Did they decommission that? That was dug, I think it was only 4 or 5 tiles deep.
And so now they're going to go deeper, is what I'm understanding.
So they're gonna drill into that. So it's pretty decent water. Tommy Carroll's got a lot of water.
Okay?
Big pond.
But, so, I mean, the 3 that we're worried about are the 3 on village water. And we just want to help them out and help them make some informed decisions before the weather gets too cold. Because, you know, what Frank and I and the rest of the committee have been seeing is that we think it's going to be a dry fall. And then if we go into a dry winter, this won't be good.
So is there anything we can do to help?
I think what Mike and I really talked about is we want you to be aware of it. And I personally feel that, you know, from the county standpoint, I mean, cooperative extension and soil and water and the folks on this committee, we have tried to be very responsive. I mean, we're doing a lot of corn silage testing because some of the corn silage is not, or some of the corn is not where we want it to be. We are offering a lot of work with folks to say, do you have enough forage to make it through the winter? And that's part of what's written up here on this paper. And then we are just trying to help people think through their inventories. And I know Liz is always asking me, what's the price of milk? And where's it going? And what's it going to be? And I chatted again with Peggy Murray and I said, and it's gone up a little bit in the futures, but it's not very optimistic. And they do not see any changes with the price of milk, probably not until mid-year next year, if it happens. So, you know, one thing we are doing is, I mean, we're making sure people are aware of FarmNet, which is a counseling service for farmers. And they don't need any more stress. And so, like, we're just making sure that we're out there, we're talking to them, we're helping them think through their forages, what's going on, their inventory of what they have, and then if they're having water issues, we're there as a group, a committee, to make sure we help them out. And then, you know, like we were very proactive on Wednesday, we found out exactly, very quickly, who was on the village water and animals and all that information.
Seems like farmers and loggers can never get a break, can they? They're
It's
always
not the
battling
same
the
part.
weather, which is out of their control.
Right. And then, just quickly, I will remind you that on Wednesday is the legislative tour. A few of you are joining us. Thank you very much. If any of you would like to come join us, you are more than welcome. And if you are not able to come on Wednesday and would like to come on Saturday, you are more than welcome to do that, and that is open all day. And, you know, again, we're trying to highlight different aspects of agriculture. And some of, you know, we're going to a hops farm. That is very much the hot to trot thing right now. Anything with malting, barley, and hops, and different things with that. It's diversifying a bit. So I would encourage you to think about it. And you have the packet now that is going to be handed out tomorrow. That has a ton of information about agriculture in Lewis County. On the left-hand side, it talks about the forestry industry. It's talking about all different parts of the industry, and it has good factual information for you to have. So we have updated all of that, so you now have all of that.
Further questions for Michelle? Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank
you. Report.
Thank you.
Jerry, were there any communications?
No, there are none.
No reports of county officers?
No, there are none.
Okay. Does anyone have any standing committee reports at this meeting they'd like to give?
Not me, and I'd like the record to show that took 15 seconds.
Record time. Very good. Okay, we'll go, Dick, anything?
Yeah, from the hospital side, I think most of you know, but the AT money, some of that came in. I don't have all of it, but it was more than what we thought we were gonna get. Good news for the hospital. We pay half of it, bad news for us, but at least they got some more money.
Any
Probably
other,
right with that.
okay, any questions for Dick or any other committee reports? Okay, Liz, anything?
No,
Patty?
nothing to report.
Okay, we can go to resolutions.
Resolution 377, authorizing application for 2016 Small Cities Community Development Block Grant.
Moved by Larry, second by Jerry. Discussion. Cheryl, will you, any comments on the resolution?
No, I just thank you for coming. I had to leave the public, after the public hearing, I had to leave the meeting, and I guess it's just one of those oversights. I just assumed that would be the next step, was to do the resolution, but it was just an oversight on I guess everybody kind of missed it. So I appreciate you having a special meeting to do that. Otherwise, we'd miss out on. The amount ended up being $847,500. So they have a limit of 5% of it on the administration amount. So the rest of the money goes to the actual rehab and then the services to the clients. So that's what we ended up with a number. So if you approve a resolution not to exceed $850, which is the maximum amount, will be good.
So that makes you beholden to us because
What?
you're beholden to us now because we
That's
came in
right.
to do this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I am.
And she knows we just love to get together whenever we can.
So you can rake me over the coals another time.
Wait till you leave.
Any other questions or comments regarding the resolution?
Motion?
We've got a motion.
You're all set.
All in favor of the resolution, then say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Other business, did any of that, Dick, you got other business?
Yeah, we had the request from the village of Lowell for the tipping fees and stuff, and that's been kind of hanging out there. And I understand they've sent a reply back to some questions we did. So with Greg's concurrence, I'd like to discuss that amongst ourselves, because I think that project is nearing the end of it. And I'm sure they'd like to have some resolution of what we're going to do and stuff. So if Greg doesn't mind, it's his committee, so it's totally up to him.
Bring it right up.
Okay, did you get a copy? Because I just
Yeah.
got one on my desk.
Yeah, I got it, right. They're response.
Okay, I didn't, we got.
Is it in our box?
It's in here.
Yeah, I just picked it up.
Want me to go get it?
No, that's all right.
No, come on, I gotta get it too.
I'll get it for you.
Hey, grab mine, will Phil.
Yep. You got yours.
Yep.
I think the newspaper said that the village figures their share of this de-sludging operation will be about $560,000. That was what was in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And the village has $850,000 in a reserve fund covered
Yeah.
this de-sludging
Thank you, sir.
process.
The whole project is 1.4, that's what's in this that you're gonna see in this. And they've got 800 in reserves for the project. So,
Well, that's different than, I don't know, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
yeah.
the newspaper says that the village's share is 500 and some thousand dollars. So I'm assuming that the expectation is that Kraft will pick up the rest. So my question is, if we waive the tipping fees, where does that money go? Does it go back directly to the users? Like it, and say if Kraft's share is 60%, does their cost drop that 60% of that tipping fee? Or are we just giving the village a lot of money to put back, you know, to put in their capital reserve fund?
Well, my understanding, and Craig, if we forgive the $15 a ton tipping fee, then there is no charge to the village. They don't have to come up with the money. There's not that kind of money hanging around, really, is how I'm understanding this. And
I don't,
I think the question is whether or not they included that expense in coming up with the numbers. Is that what you think, Larry?
well, I'm just trying to figure out, the village wants to waive the tipping fee. Their cost is $560,000. So if we waive the tipping fees, are we just,
if the tipping fees aren't 500 and some thousand.
yeah, they're 130 something.
I heard 50, so there's somewhere.
So
Depending on how many tons.
Yeah, depends on how many.
It could be up to $220,000 depending on the tonnage.
Okay.
They're
My understanding
anticipating
is,
that
again, from the paper, the material was drier than it was expected to be. That drier means the tonnage is going down. So, you know, it's based on the tons. My feeling, Larry, is if this was an economic development project, which I think bringing those jobs that Kraft's bringing to the town is economic development project. If somebody came here and said, I'm gonna start a new business and I want you to do something for me or build something for me, you know, we put millions of dollars into that. We put a Commerce Park up, we put a building up, we do something else. My feeling is, it's under that same vein. In that case, if we can help Kraft out, which is probably our biggest industry in Lewis County outside of maybe the hospital.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
If Kraft participates in the reduced cost of this project, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, they don't.
If the project goes forward at $144,000 and the village retains the full $130,000, puts it back in the capital reserve fund, I'm not okay with that. My expectation is that if the project ends up below the 1.44 million, that Kraft participates in the reduction.
Yes. Yeah. And
If
that is
you
already
read-
given
if
up
you read
theirs,
this
so.
response,
Question-
the response.
Question two.
Question
seems-
2 tells you the direct beneficiary of the waiver is Kraft Heinz.
Okay.
So he answered that question.
Well, I haven't seen this in
Sure.
30 seconds
Okay.
ago.
But if that's what you're asking, yeah, it's okay too.
So, you know, otherwise, they're gonna be paying 60% of the $1.4 million.
Okay.
That's how that works.
And in this case, it'll be 60% of 1.25 if you take 130,000.
Yeah, exactly, that's it.
Okay.
Phil,
When we had our solid waste meeting, excuse me, Greg Brennan talked to Jim Wright that day, and Dane drops it, for this type of thing, they drop $10 a ton. They go from 46 to 36. And Craig equated that to 25% and suggested, well, why don't we give a 25% discount? So that's what the committee decided to propose to the full board. We kind of were, look, we didn't know either on this question number 2, but we were kind of looking like to make sure that the village got it, do a direct check to them or something along those lines, but to make sure it got in the right spot, you know, but
We didn't.
that's the committee recommendation. is
but also
give them a
going
25%
forward, going
discount.
forward, Phil,
Yeah, that,
for any other facilities as well, is what committee discussed.
Right, thanks, you're right.
But we also, during our discussion, didn't have any of these tags.
No, we didn't.
So that kind of like changes the way you view it. You know, I mean, basically, if Kraft Heinz project is going to see its funding, that's probably one of the only ways we're really going to participate in helping that project to bring the 150 jobs.
Yeah, and it's spread out proportionally. If we give it to them, the whole project benefits from it,
Yeah, their cost.
not just one side or the other.
It was important to us to kind of set a precedent that might be used in the future. That we just tagged in at Craig's suggestion, we just tagged into what Dave was.
Yeah.
Kind of did 25%. It's not really 25, but we didn't have a problem with the extra few percentage points. But it kind of helps our people, I guess. At least the ones that have a sewer system.
What have we done in the past? Larry, didn't we in Lions Falls have some sludge removal or construction debris removal or something down there? Do you seem to remember? A few years back that we waived a bunch of stuff on that, as I believe. And we could look that up, but I'm
We
pretty
did
sure.
it for Castor,
Might have
but
just went
they didn't need it.
Was
Yeah,
that
theirs was covered by a grant.
Castellan?
Theirs was covered by a grant, and it was a lot less than they anticipated
Yeah.
to. So, I mean, Casterland, I know it was more. I mean,
If you look at it, it's only gonna happen every 20 years.
I don't think it's gonna happen again because they're looking at their rates, their water and sewer rates. And this is a systemic thing that's happening, but it's happening in other villages too.
it'd be blended in.
They never look at what's that rate made up of. It's made up of 4 different projects, or 4 different items: operation, maintenance, repair, and capital. I don't think they've ever looked at that. They're going to start doing that. I think they formed a committee already to do that. So by January, their rate structure is going to look a lot more realistic to what it is. People now will make a scream a little bit because I think the water taxes are going to go up a little bit. But we've got the second lowest rate, as I'm told, in the country. And when I was at Maxwell for my MPA, we did a look at just rural communities in upstate New York as a project. And at that time, a family of 4 should have been paying by 2010 about $600 a year in water and sewer rates. And I think you saw that. We passed out a piece of paper here. Some people are paying that already. So I think they've figured out that they've got to do something different in that part too. So I don't look at doing this again in 20 years myself.
Well, but-
I'd probably be here, but I still don't look like doing it.
The de-sludging one.
Exactly, that's what I mean, the de-sludging, yeah.
And is there something that we can put in the resolution that whether we're here the next time it comes up or not, this is kind of precedence we set? Because I would like to continue to do it for the other places once we start.
Well,
I mean, it's not gonna happen.
Is one of the things that, my under recollection is that Kraft uses 49% of the water, that's paying 60% of the charges. Are they looking at bringing that back into balance? I mean, everyone wants to support the economic development of the Kraft expansion. It would seem to me that's one way that the village of Alva could participate in that by, bringing what Kraft pays in more in line with what they use.
my understanding of it is that they're currently using about 62%. If you take the projected water usages on this new construction, it's probably going to approach 70%. So I think that whole agreement is going to be rewritten because it was based on initial volume usage 1978, I think that thing was right. Should have been updated between now and then. But yeah.
And they'll still be shipping sewage side about the same amount of water except for the solids.
Yeah, I think so. yeah.
Whatever they take in.
Yep.
Can I just throw in one separate issue, and it is a separate issue? If we waive the tipping fees, you have a second decision on whether you're going to replenish solid waste for the money now, or if you subsequently do it, is the expectation that solid waste is going to continue to basically eat the costs associated with that at a time when, remember, their trash is going down and recycling is going up, and so their revenue stream is getting challenged as well.
Pete said he could handle a 25%. No, we didn't talk about total waiving of the
A
fees.
25% what?
Discount.
Why?
I don't think it's in his
What we
fee.
just were talking about. He said he
Okay.
could handle that part.
Okay, I'm just saying, keep in the back of your mind.
There's no revenue from this $15 a ton for this sludge in his budget.
Right.
It was never known last year's
It's
budget.
not in
I
his
went through the whole budget
budget.
process.
It would have been a
It's an extra on
surprise.
top of his budget.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So in other words, it shouldn't affect him.
It shouldn't affect his budget,
Because
unless somebody
Then
knows
he's
something. I
never
don't remember
budgeted
that.
for
I'm
it.
just saying, if you think about it in terms of just, if you're gonna write the resolution in terms of setting some kind of norms or precedents going forward, just be cognizant of what kind of language you wanna talk about here in terms of.
Yeah, because and the other thing, it never goes in there, it'll go directly to Dank, and what they were doing is when it shipped to Dank, we get revenue off of all the stuff, even garbage haulers. We never see it, it's revenue, but you're not sure how many garbage haulers go into Dank.
The only reason it wasn't in his budget is because he never knows when somebody's
Right,
gonna
you
do
don't know,
something.
that's what I'm saying, you
So
don't
he-
It's not a
know.
budget.
It
You
would
don't
be
know.
kind of
Yeah.
foolish of him to put something
Oh,
in the
yeah,
budget,
yeah.
just in case, you
Plus,
know?
plus you also have to look at, Yankees come up with more funding for our zero sort project too. We're gonna have less cost there.
So Dick or Greg, would you like to prepare a resolution for our next meeting?
Sure. I'll help Greg, but this should come from Greg, it's his committee.
Okay.
Thanks for the discussion.
Any other business from legislators? Joan mentioned some executive session, would that be after the Ways and Means? There's
It's up to you. We thought maybe we would have a short executive session to talk about the solar.
Yeah, so it doesn't
solar
necessarily
situation.
involve.
We don't have to
everything.
do it right now with the whole group, but I think in the Ways and Means, we'll go into executive
Okay,
session.
then whoever wants to listen and speak can. So I think that's probably it for all the business for our meeting. Motion to adjourn, moved by Larry, second by Rocky, all in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned.
Just